Namaste. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to class. So finding our comfortable seat, we're going to do a little pranayama and move into a meditation this morning on the 5 elements. And then we'll move into our asana. Okay, so I have a shawl just because it's a little chilly if I'm still. So if you need anything for your meditation, grab it now so that between the short pranayama that we do and the meditation, you don't have to move or get up or get anything. So anything you might need now for a meditative seat, I'm on a cushion, I'm on a pillow, my legs are supported. They're supported by my feet that are underneath them. But you can also put blocks underneath knees. You want to be supported so that your legs eventually begin to relax so that they can reach their maximum extension. So without supporting them, that never happens, okay? So your nice comfortable seat with an erect spine. So just lean back a little bit, lean forward a little bit, lean to one side and the other side, and then find some place right in the middle where you can feel that you're balanced over the pubic bone, tailbone space that's created beneath you. Let's bring the hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. With gratitude, we salute all the great yoga masters, past and present. A special prayer of thanksgiving for Baba Hari Das. With joy, we recognize the excellent wisdom teachings of yoga, Ayurveda, and with vigor, we dedicate ourselves to self-transforming practice. So taking a moment and thinking, what do I need this morning for self-transformation? And just moving yourself into that space for a moment. Let your eyes perhaps close all the way or drop your gaze to the floor. What do you need this morning for self-transformation? And then let that thought slip down into your heart space. We'll bring it back at the end of class. And join me if you can where you are for one resounding Om. Exhaling the breath out and then inhale to chant. Om. Just feeling the breath come in and filling the space in the lungs for a moment. Good. And then relaxing your hands to your legs. You can put the palms up or down, whichever feels the most comfortable. We are going to do some mudra this morning, but just to get ourselves started in our pranayama practice. So we're going to do a couple of a few kriyas. We're going to do 3 kriyas, 3 actions. And each one of them, we're going to take that breath 5 times. And I'll describe it, I'll recap it, and then we'll begin. So you can begin when I start describing it just to kind of get the gist of it if you're not sure. It's super simple. It's so easy. And then if you started, then maybe start over so you can have 5 additional times after I mention that, okay? So the first one is super simple. It's a chest breath. We're going to inhale in through the nose, into the chest, fully, gently, deeply. And then we're going to exhale also out the nose, fully, as much as we can. So the abdominal region stays relatively engaged. We're not breathing down into the belly. We're breathing into the chest through the nose and exhaling through the nose, okay? We'll do this 5 times. You can take your gaze to the floor or let your eyes close completely. So exhaling the breath out to start. Inhaling chest through the nose. Exhaling through the nose 5 times. And once you've done your 5, just noticing how it feels in the body and the mind. Kriya 2, inhaling into the chest through both nostrils, slowly, smoothly, gently, deeply, and exhaling through a partially open mouth. So chest breath, inhale nose, exhale mouth. We'll do this 5 times. Let's begin with an exhale. And as you complete the 5th round, just noticing body, breath, mind. And the third Kriya will be Kriya 6 in the Swasayam Kriyas. So we're going to exhale the breath, starting with our exhale, belly to spine. Use the muscles, release the muscles, breath comes in. Exhale, belly to spine, breath comes in. So abdominal breath, beginning with the exhale and using the abdominal muscles, relaxing the muscles and letting the breath come in. We'll do this 5 times. Let's begin. And as you complete the 5th round, just noticing body, breath, mind. We're going to move right into a meditation on the 5 elements. And we're going to start with the grossest and move to the most subtle. So we're going to begin with earth. We can place our fingers in a mudra if we'd like. Earth mudra is taking the tip of the thumb to the tip of the middle finger, tip of the thumb to the tip of the middle finger, and resting the back of the hands along the legs. Relax your hands as much as you can. So I'll try to be as unobtrusive as possible when I tell you the mudra and the mantra. And then we'll spend 1 minute each in each of these 5 elements, okay? So the seed syllable for earth is lung, 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 lung. So your eyes can close softly. Earth element inside you and without. Structure, stability, solidity. Trees and rocks and buildings. bones and muscles and ligaments. The foundation of our world and our body. Releasing the mudra and the mantra, moving into up, the water element. The tip of the thumb to the tip of the pinky finger. Tip of the thumb to the tip of the pinky finger. And the seed syllable, vang, 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 vang. Liquidity in the body and outside of the body. Blood, saliva, tears, oceans, rivers, and streams. The principle of liquidity in our bodies and in our world. Vang, vang, vang. Moving, releasing the mantra and the mudra and moving into the third element of fire. Tucking in your ring finger and placing the thumb on the fingernail of the ring finger, resting the back of the hands on the legs. The seed syllable, rung, 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 rung. Inside and out. Bringing your mind into the metabolic fire of each cell, the mitochondria, the digestive fire, the fire in your eyes, the fire that colors our skin, forest fires, cooking fires, the sun, bringing your mind into the fire element, releasing the mudra and the mantra, moving into the air element, taking the index finger and tucking it in, the tip of the index finger to the base of the thumb, the tip of the index finger to the base of the thumb, and just wrapping the thumb lightly over the index as you rest your back of the hands on the legs. Seed syllable of the air element. Young, 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 young. the breeze in the trees, the air making waves on the ocean, hurricanes, tornadoes, the blinking of your eyes, the food moving through your digestive tract, the breath coming in and out of the body, moving the cells, moving the blood in the veins, air element, yang, yang, yang. Releasing the mudra and the mantra and moving into the most subtle space, the tip of the thumb to the tip of the middle finger, tip of the thumb to the tip of the middle finger, resting the back of the hands along the legs. Seed syllable, hum, 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 hum. The space in your room, the space in your town, outer space, the space in the organs, in the orifices of the body, the cellular space, space within and without. Hung, hung, hung. Releasing the mudra and the mantra and just being still for a moment. All 5 elements blending, mixing, creating. And let your mind for a moment rest on Om, Om, Om. Releasing mantra, releasing the mind from the meditation. Just slowly coming back into the room as the senses notice smells, taste, sound, touch, and smells. So coming fully into the body, we'll start with our circles around the hips, Just moving gently all the way around. And then back in the other direction. Good. And then side extension. So bringing the body up and reaching through both sides of the body equally. Just let your hands relax. Maybe take your hands in some circles in both directions for a moment. And then go ahead and lower the left arm and reach out to the left, just lengthening. Press into your left hand for a moment. The elbow can be bent. And just creating a C curve. Be aware of your right sit bone being firmly, firmly on the ground. And then push off and come up. Both arms up again, lengthening. And then letting the right arm come down to the floor as you reach over. Make sure your left sit bone stays planted as you create this C curve headed over to the right side. And then press off, come up. Take both arms back behind you. Interlace the fingers, open the chest, the heart. Expose the sternum a little bit. Expose your breastbone a little bit to the ceiling. Good. And then let's release the arms and give ourselves a big hug. Big hug. Then you can take your chin down towards your chest, take your elbows to your chest. And then come up with your chin and gaze, and then bring your elbows up just to shoulder height, and let's switch the hug and move back to the other direction. Again, release the elbows down to the chest, curl the upper spine, take your chin down towards your chest. And then peel the chin off, back into neutral, bring the arms back into shoulder height, and then reach the arms out really far. Again, circles with the wrist, both directions. And then release the arms and stretch your legs out in front. So let the toes head up to the ceiling. I'm going to take my cushion out for a moment so that I can, you're welcome to keep your cushion there. All righty. So big toe knuckles are touching and heels are not touching. Okay, good. So sitting in an L, sitting in this right angle for a moment. Go ahead and activate everything. Hug the muscles to the bones, quadriceps, shins. And then as if you had barbell laying right above your knees, just pick up the barbell. This is just imagining we have a barbell. Keep your spine exactly like it is. Bend your knees gently. Take the barbell to shoulder height. Reach out your shoulder heights, but you have to have a little bit of a bend in your elbows. Don't lock them out. Good. Hold on to that barbell. It's headed out in either direction. Good. And then slowly bring the forearms towards your shoulders. Forearms, forearms, forearms. Good. Excellent. So the fingers can touch the shoulders and the elbows are reaching out. Good. And you're sitting up tall on your sit bones and your knees are gently bent. Great. And then let's take the elbows out to the side. Keep the hands gently on the shoulders. Lift up through the sternum. Good. And then let's release the hands and the fingers. Take them up. Keep the elbows stable as you're just working with the forearms. Forearms are working together. Good. Reaching out. And then relax the arms down. Just notice what happened with your shoulders in this deep external rotation. And then relax your shoulders back into neutral. Good. And then let's go ahead and you can either cross your legs or you can sweep your legs over to one side. Let's come into table, working on the spine. Okay. Good. Just finding your table pose, knees underneath your hips, wrist underneath your shoulders. Hands are in front of your shoulders. Good. So let's take an exhale and curl the spine up and stay there for a few moments and breathe. Just look back at your belly button, tuck your chin in towards your chest, get round. Tops of the feet into the floor, all toes, all toenails. Keep pressing. So the crown of the head is toward the floor, your chin is tucked, your spine is round, and breathe. Notice if you can breathe in between the shoulder blades. See if you can direct the pranic energy into the back part of your body. And then on your next inhale, come into neutral Begin to curl the tailbone toward the back of the head and the back of the head toward the tailbone. And arching in the other direction, and breathe. And notice now where the breath is, with the back compressed, the back of the body compressed, and the front of the body is extended. Press into the hands, tops of the feet. Breathe. Keep pressing into the hands and the feet. And then come into neutral. Just find yourself in neutral with all of your beautiful spinal curves. So you have your low back curve, you have your cervical curve, the space in your neck. Good. And then let's take cat pose, just like we did, except this time coordinating with the breath, but we're going to move just on the exhale. So exhale, well, not move, but we're going to relax on the inhale. Exhale, arch. Inhale, release. Exhale, arch. And inhale, release. So both directions. Exhale, arch spine toward the ceiling. Inhale, release. Exhale, arch the spine toward the floor. And inhale, release. 2 more. Good. And then after this one, being nice and stable for just a moment before you roll and clean that barrel. Let your shoulders set the limit. So don't go too far. Just cleaning the inside of a peanut butter jar. How about that? Good. Clean the jar, top of the jar, bottom of the jar. Good. And then come in nice and active. So pull in your belly, pelvic floor is lifted. So notice that pelvic floor is lifted, okay? And then back with your left leg. Let's go back with the right, down with the left knee, and down with the right knee. And now notice how now our table is no longer stable. It's moving into plank pose, okay? But let's go up again with the right, up again with the left. Use your heels, press through your heels. Don't take yourself off your shoulders. Keep your shoulders right over your wrist, and then lower to your knee and lower to your knee. Now look at the floor. Maybe you want to look at the screen for just a moment and make a nice line with the front of your body. Good. So you're not gonna droop down. You're gonna make a line, looking down at the floor. Good. Just in this half plank. And then take your hips back towards your heels. Look forward for just a moment, and then walk your hands back and come up. And this is just a little, this is not even a quarter of a camel, but it is a camel-like pose, but we're not quite warmed up enough to do a full camel. But I do want you to roll your shoulders forward and up and back and down and forward and up and back and down. Just the shoulders, forward and up and back and down. Now with your shoulders down and your sternum toward the ceiling, just take your hands for a moment, put your hands on your waist. Your thumbs will be on your back, and just make sure there's plenty of space on your back, that you haven't just leaned too far back, because this is only the thoracic spine that's moving. Good. And then keeping that curve for just a moment, pull in your pelvic floor, pull in your belly, and let's take the arms up overhead. We're adding a little weight by doing that. Arms up overhead, don't lean back. The only leaning back is happening in your thoracic spine, not leaning back in your low back. And then take your arms down beside you. Good. And then hips to the heels. Toes are curled under. Good. So nice and balanced. Great. And then we're going to slither our way down on the floor into either cobra or sphinx pose. Decide which is most comfortable. So slither your way down onto the floor into cobra or sphinx. So just get into the most comfortable one for a moment. We're going to do something a little different today with our hips and our legs. And I want you to walk your legs out past your mat. Put your feet off your mat, all the way off your mat. I have a little wedge in my way. And relax your booty. Just completely relax your bottom. You can just shake it like jelly. Just relax it. So any movement that's happening in your back is happening in your thoracic spine because you have your bottom relaxed, okay? So you were either in Cobra or Sphinx, and we just did that move. Everybody wing out your elbows to the side. Come down forehead or chin and take the arms back behind you. Now, roll your thighs up enough to plant your thumbs underneath your thighs and take your chin or forehead to the floor. So your thumbs are trapped and captured underneath your thighs. Try to relax your shoulders, relax your chest, chin or forehead to the floor. Keep your bottom soft. We're going to rely on what can happen with our thoracic spine muscles. So we're going to peel off chin and chest just a little and lower. So some of us may go as far as I just went. Some of us may go here. That's perfect. And just notice if your legs are trying to get involved. That's why I have your hands underneath your quads. Try to keep your legs out of this equation and try to use what we call your superior body, which means above your belly button, and let the part below your belly button just be soft and relaxed. So as if we were not using at all right now any of the muscles below the belly button, and we're relying strictly on the muscles that are along the ribs. Just keep moving with your breath. You can inhale up and exhale down, or you can switch the breath. 2 more. 1, 2. Good. And then relax. Take your head to one side. See if you can relax your bottom more, because probably no matter what, it engaged somewhat, even though you were asking it not to. Just relax. And then take your face to the other side. Just relax there for a moment. Shoulders, hips again, because sometimes they'll re-engage. They think you need them, and they're those big muscles, and they think they're important. Well, they are. But sometimes they get a little too big for their britches, literally. Okay, bring forehead or chin to the floor, and then untrap your hands. Just get your hands out of there. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, just enough to press off a tiny bit, but not off of your ribs. And then let's move into Sphinx. So now our elbows are underneath our shoulders. If that's uncomfortable for you in your low back, just take your elbows a little bit further ahead, because maybe it has to do with the length of your arms. So just checking in. Okay. You have a little bit more stability if the elbow is underneath the shoulder, but if that causes pain and a shelf in your low back, that big right angle right there rather than a smooth curve, then you need to move your arms a little bit forward. Good. Now relax your bottom, still relax the bottom. Be in the Sphinx for just a moment. Soft bottom. Keep your belly in. Belly's engaged. Don't let your belly go. Yes, you're laying on the floor. No, you're not a piece of butter melting. Pull in your belly. And then let's bring our elbows back, our hands back where our elbow indentations are. Bring our hands back. And then walk your feet together. Roll the feet out, point the toes, roll the feet out, little toe side firmly grounded into the floor. Good. And then just coming up enough that you can lift your hands. Your knees may float off the mat as your quads are engaged and the tops of the feet are on the floor. Good. Excellent. And then walk your hands back right by your chest, and then push up and back. Don't go too far back. We don't want to go all the way into an inversion yet. Okay, just looking forward. And then keeping your low back curve. So just keeping your low back curve, reestablish your table pose, reestablish table. Good. So knees underneath the hips, not back in the half plank. Okay, knees get reestablished again. Great. And then reach back, right leg, and left leg. Press through the heels a lot. Good. And then release the knees and come into half plank, not drooping again, really staying engaged. Good. And then take your feet and bring them up towards your hips. So you're on your knees, pull in your belly. Don't let your belly go. Good. And then release the feet and hips to heels. Walk your hands back until you can sit up again on your heels. Just looking forward. Good. And then let's come up onto our knees just for a little moment, okay? So with our low back, hopefully feeling pretty good right now, I want us to think about a little bit more of a camel, but I want the camel to happen only in here. So this part stays completely stable and we're only coming in here and it's spreading throughout each of the ribs, and no shelf. So just a gentle, every single rib, you add the rib, add the rib, add the rib, add the rib, add the rib. And the chin can stay into the chest the whole time. At the very end, if you want to look up a little, that's fine, but don't let your head go, okay? So another way to keep you honest is to take your body to the wall so that you are sure that you leave your belly and your legs on the wall as you lean back. Okay, so if you have a wall to keep you honest, because nothing is happening in the inferior part of the body, from the belly button down is stable and everything is happening in the upper part, okay? And we're not going to go back and touch our feet or anything. We're going to keep our hands nice and stable. Just place them where the heel of the hand is on the lowest of your ribs. Just dig in a minute, you'll find low ribs. Just dig in a minute. And what you want to make sure there is that you don't put a shelf there. So now you know where your low ribs are. Great. Now walk the heel of the hand up about 2 inches or so. So you've got a low rib. Let your fingers drape down and you're going to assure that you don't make a shelf there. You're going to spread everything throughout every rib, adding a rib at a time. Remember, you can keep your chin into your chest if you'd like. And at the very end, look up and exhale, come back up. So Babaji would often have us inhale and hold the breath briefly for a second or two as you go back. And exhale up. Why? Because with the chest completely filled, you have less of an opportunity to collapse into the pose. So so we're not going to stay long. You might hold the breath for 1 or 2 seconds as you go back, and then you're going to exhale and come back, okay? So make sure you have your heels of the hands where you're a little bit up, right over your kidneys, and your fingers are down so you can make sure you're spreading the back bend. You're not making a shelf there, okay? Roll your shoulders forward and up. And then as you start to roll them back, put the space in between each rib. You can gaze up a little if you'd like, or keep the chin in and gaze up at the end, or not gaze up at all if you have anything with your neck. Exhale up. Good. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And hips to heels. Good. So just sitting upright now. You can have a block between your heels if you'd like, or just sit and drape your sit bones over the heels. Good. Nice, tall, tall spine. Great. And then let's come one last time into table. Pull in your belly. Good. So as we build this, I want you to take, like we have a pranayama where you kind of build in 5 inhales. We're going to sip. We're going to kind of sip and build in 5 breaths, 5 inhales. We're going to build this pose, and then we're going to come down into neutral on an exhale. And then we're going to build it in the other direction over 5 breaths and then come down on the exhale. Okay, so we're going to take sips of an inhale. Ready? Inhale, little sip, another sip, sip, sip. Exhale, neutral. Sip in, inhale, 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 inhale. Exhale, neutral. One more. Sip, 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 sip. Exhale, neutral. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, neutral. Good. And then go ahead and keep your toes together and take your knees apart into a wide angle. And now you're taking your hips to your heels. Relax your forearms on the floor. Forearms are completely on the floor. Good. And your spine is in a more neutral place here because the knees are open, so you aren't laying it over the knees. The knees are out to the side. Good, just breathing, look at the floor. And then mindfully look out past your mat a little and then reach out the hands one at a time. Really press into the fingertips and lift your armpits, just lift the armpits. And then as you begin to press the hips away, reach the arms out. You may be on the floor, you may just be reaching up in space. Either place is perfect. Keep the belly pulled in. Good, and then look out past your fingers again, and then walk the hands back right in front of your knees. Pull your elbows in, and then come up using your arms straightening. Great. And then let's bring the knees back together for a moment, sitting in Vajrasana. You can have the block in between or not. So sitting and watching for just a moment, because we're going to go to the floor in a moment. And we're going to lie down, but just watch for 1 second what we're going to do when we get there. Okay. So we're going to pull our legs in. We're not going to put any pressure to pull them in. We're just going to pull them in wherever, let the legs come in, as better said, wherever they are. And then we're going to take one leg up, stretch through the foot, then point the toe. So it's kind of like Barbies. You're flexing and pointing at the same time, Barbie shoes. And then you're going to drag that leg down slowly, 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 until you feel like it's almost ready to touch the floor. And then come back up. Okay. And we're going to play that way with both legs for a little while. So just lying down. Bend your knees, don't pull them in. Your hands, just rest your hands lightly on your chest. Let your hands rest on your breastbone. Elbows are on the floor, shoulders are on the floor. There's no tension in your superior body, and all the action is in your inferior body, okay, below the belly button. So let's start with the left leg. Let's raise the leg up, point the toe, raise the leg up. And then flex the foot and press through the heel. So leg is up toward the ceiling. The leg is straight, even if it's out a little bit. Wherever the leg is, it's straight. And the knee is firm, but not locked. Now keep the flex to the foot and point the toe at the same time. So Barbie shoes. So you have flexed toes and a pointed foot. And then slowly begin to drag that foot down toward the floor. So you're having to resist gravity. Drag it down. Keep those Barbie toes. Feel the quad engage. It's your stop right now. Good. Don't let the foot touch. Flex the foot and bring it back up. Good. And then just bend the knee. Same thing on the right side. Point the toes. Take the foot all the way up. Straight leg. Flex the foot. Press through the heel. See where you find the leg so that it's straight. Knee is not locked, but it is a nice straight leg. Great. And then point the toes as you flex the toes. Point the foot as you flex the toes so that you have Barbie shoes on. And then slowly begin to drag that leg. So fighting against gravity. Quads engaged, quads engaged, quads engaged. Keep the Barbie shoes on. Don't let the foot touch. And then flex the foot and bring it all the way back up. And then bend the knee, and both legs are just there for a moment. Good. And then just let your feet come gently to the floor. Lift your hips off, give them a little shake, and then put them back down. Good. So make sure you have a little bit of your low back curve in this position so you can tilt your pubic bone toward the floor. Make sure you have some low back curve where you can reach underneath and make sure that's the case. Good. And then we're going to start with the right leg. So bring the right leg in, and you're going to notice that the right side of your low back goes into the floor as it should. And then lift the right leg up toward the ceiling. Good. And then let's bend the right knee and take the right ankle, the outside ankle, right above your left knee, and just place it there. Foot is flexed. Don't tilt your pelvis. Keep your body as firm as it is on the floor. And without hands, just gently lifting your left leg off the floor, and just notice now both sides of the low back are in the floor. Working on your right piriformis, sciatic nerve. If there's any pain, let it go. And then go ahead and put the left foot on the floor again. Unleash the right leg and just place it on the floor. Good. And little tilt to make sure you've still got some curve. Good. And then bring in the left foot. Notice how the left leg, notice how the low back goes to the floor. Good. Let's straighten the leg first. Just straighten it and reach up, low back to the floor. And then bend the knee, and then put the outside ankle right above your right knee. Open the leg just as much as is comfortable. Keep the pelvis stable and even. Flex the left foot. Right foot can be flexed as well. Good. And then let's bring up the right leg just a little off the floor. Just bring the whole leg together, which will bring the whole left leg with it. Don't use your hands, just what happens with your legs, leg strength. And then release the right foot to the floor, unleash the left leg and foot, put the foot on the floor, lift your bottom up a little, shake it out, and relax for a moment. Good. And then go ahead and extend both legs on the floor. Let's flex both feet toward the ceiling. Take your arms up overhead for a moment. Stretch your arms out and make an X with your body as much as you can. And then point the toes, reach the shoulder blades down towards your hips. So arms are reaching up, shoulder blades are reaching down, pull in your belly. And then I want you to bring your whole body in, elbows to knees. Good, let's go one more time out into that X. Just reach out, point your toes, make as big of an X as you possibly can, reach through your fingers, get some low back curve in there. And then slowly bend your elbows, bend your knees, and bring them toward one another. Good. Again, put your feet on the floor. And if you want to do a little, I want us to do the reverse of camel, which is bridge pose. It's exactly the same pose. So if you're inverting, if you're not inverting, so glaucoma, eye pressure problems, first few days of your menstrual cycle, you have a sinus infection, you don't want to invert, don't. Just flip your legs to a wall and put your legs on the wall and keep your bottom on the floor. If you're inverting, lift your legs, lift your hips off the floor, find that diagonal line, and then roll your shoulders back and down so that you're lifting and creating a bridge with your torso. Take a little gaze back at the wall behind you. Bring your head back into neutral so you have some cervical curve. And just don't let your knees splay out to the side. Keep them activated. Pretend you have a block between your legs and you're squeezing it. And then slowly release your hips to the floor and relax. Good. So just breathing for a moment, taking a little respite. If that felt good and you want to invert one more time, I want you to feel free to do one more bridge. Okay, so feel free to do one more bridge. If wheel is part of your practice, feel free to do a wheel pose. So you decide what you want to do. Okay, for those of us who are ready or want to, we're going to reach out and do a version of fish pose. So point your toes, reach your legs out. Put your forearms firmly on the floor. I'm going to roll and put my thumbs underneath my hips. I need your forearms on the floor so that you can lift and look at your toes. And lower. One more time, press into your forearms, lift, look at your toes. And lower. And one last time, forearms into the floor, lift, look at your toes, look toward the ceiling, don't let your head go. And then bring the chin back in and lower. Good. And then look for your Shavasana. Everybody, if you're in bridge, if you're in wheel, whatever you're in, come out of it and look for your Shavasana. If you want your blanket or anything to cover you up, just reach and grab it and throw it over yourself. Think starfish, not boxed into a mat, unless the floor is too cold. And then put everything on the mat. Relaxing body, breath, mind. Remembering our 5-element meditation and all 5 elements being inside you and outside of you. And for now, think about earth and water, which is mud. Your whole body just made of mud. Relax, melt into the floor. Just a little mud baby, just melting into the floor. Uncontrolled breath. We're going to come out of this very slowly through the sensory perception of the 5 elements. So beginning with the most subtle sound, the sound of my voice. Just feeling sound coming in through the ears, space, and then touch, the touch of your body on the floor, the touch of your clothing to your body, air. Sight, even with your eyes closed, envisioning a candle flame or anything, fire, vision. Eyes can flutter open gently. Taste, water, the taste in your mouth, just being aware of the taste in your mouth. And smell, earth element smell, the smells around you. Imagining the smell of a lemon freshly cut, the taste of a lemon freshly cut. And then bringing all of the senses online, letting your mind remember sensory perceptions, taking a nice big overhead stretch, or perhaps just shrinking in all at once. Either way, making your way gently over onto embryo pose, all curled up, safe and secure. Making a beautiful C curve with your body. And then slowly using the upper arm, put the hand on the floor, stack the elbow over the wrist, and then begin to press away as you tuck the chin into the chest. The head is the very last thing that just sits on top of your spine. Coming up slowly to a comfortable seat, letting everything integrate. Pranayama, dharana, concentration, asana, the postures. Notice the union of body, breath, and mind. Notice the quality of your thoughts. Bringing the hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. Any merit that we may have earned this morning, we lift it up to the welfare of all sentient beings. So remembering your intention, bringing it fully into your mind, and ponder it for just a moment. And then letting that thought slip gently down into your heart space. And then slowly and gently, symbolically from the heart out into the palms of your hands. And then let's lift it up, all of our offerings and then your intention, and let it go off into the universe, just bringing the hands gently back into the heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste. Okay, I'm coming to you. If I can find my shoes. Great. Okay, let me fix it where you can chat because I had it silent. And now let me unspotlight me so we can all go to gallery. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good. It's a group of all of us that kind of know one another. How was the 5 elements meditation for you this morning? Good. Thank you, Jaya. And then I thought it was really amazing, like when you got to the very end of your Shavasana and we pulled the 5 elements back in, did it help you that we had gone through them individually and you kind of knew their space in the body-mind complex? Good, good.
Yeah.
You know, we're all just made of those 5 elements and they're inside of us and outside of us. And when we see that one of those elements is out of balance inside, we have to use things outside like food and stimulation and mental things and balance ourselves out. You know, what we eat, what we drink, what we see, what we watch, all of that, you know, it affects our whole being. Yeah. So it's good to find ourselves deciding where we go. Yeah.
That the connecting the last part and how you started the meditation, that was really nice. Yeah.
Good.
Beautiful. Very beautiful.
And I took a little longer today on the meditation and I took a little longer on the Shavasana, right? And yet I felt like we did enough strong things in the middle that you felt like you had actually worked your body. At least that was my thought. I felt like I was trying to make you do strong enough things that you felt like you had actually moved and your core had moved and your spine had moved. It's all about the spine moving, right? We want to make sure the spine is active. And so just allowing everyone to move through the whole process of bending back, forth and back and forth. How was the camel for you when we sort of like had that shelf? Anybody have that shelf and kind of felt that, oh, I am just going to lay on that heel of my hand if I don't spread it up a little bit? You know, it sort of keeps you honest to pull that hand up a little bit more and just go, oh, I wasn't spreading. And I was just like, because we have that thoracic spine that, you know, here's our lumbar spine, here's our thoracic spine. And, you know, it can go like that because of the way that that disc is made. This has a very weird relationship. This one right down here, it acts like it's a lumbar, but right up here, it acts like a thoracic. And so it can just go right on top and make a shelf. And so that's what we really want to avoid completely, which is why I had you, a lot of times we'll put our hand right here on this one, right? And I had you move your hand up a little bit to be on this one. So you didn't have that tendency to just go right there and create that shelf. That was my intention anyway. I hope that that worked a little bit. Yeah. Any comments, any questions, anything? Antonia, I'm so glad to see you so perfectly, beautifully well. Thank God. She's been taking care of her dad who did come down with COVID, and she and the housekeeper somehow just stayed strong and stayed good. No, you didn't. Did you get it? But you look great. Okay. Well, we'll talk. Yeah. So her mom and who's usually here with us, Sylvia, we're in a women's group. And so we always try to kind of keep each other abreast of everything. And I've been so buried in work for the past few days. It's like, who knows what's going on in the world. Yeah. Anything about your back? Because we did a lot of stuff there. Yes, you.
Thank you, Kamalesh. I have a question about the figure 4 lying down. So yesterday I taught this to my friend, and I didn't know her how open and how flexible. So I said, use your hands to under your thigh. And then she told me she felt stomach for that. And today I realized you didn't use the hand. So yeah, I'm wondering, would that make it easier? Because I noticed you didn't use the hand. I feel, oh, that's nice. So just curious, because you did it a little bit differently than I did yesterday to my friend. Yeah.
I think it's just a little different. You know, I think you can do either one, but one makes you much more aware if you're gripping with your thighs or not, if you put your hands in, right? So how many of you realized that when you had your hands there that, oh, I am trying to use my quads a little bit to do this movement, and they're not even on that part of my body at all. What the heck is going on, right? So it just gives us information. It's not so much like the hands don't really do anything. They're just like to give us information. Why am I tightening my legs and my knees when I'm doing a back bend? You know, it's just to give us the information. So for us people who are super flexy and started out yoga because we were super flexy, and this is Miss Jaya here too, she's shaking her head. All of us who could do that sort of thing, and you too, you know, face plant and all that sort of stuff, we find as we grow in our yoga practice, what we need is strength. We need to back off of that flexibility because now our joints have been overly used, and we need to like back off and get some strength in there, you know. So what was really easy for us, you know, in our 20s and 30s, and me even in my 40s, now is no longer anything I need to do at all. I need to get strong before I bend forward so that I can really protect all of my joints, right? Not just flop forward like I used to do when I was young. It's just not good for the body. It's certainly not good for the low back, you know, any of those kind of just flop forward things that some of us could do. And so now when I really tuck the muscle to the bone and I start to go over, I'm much more limited, but I'm much more protected, you know. Yeah, yeah. Yes, Joanne.
Yes, thank you for your gentleness because when you just was talking about that number 4 pose, I know I pulled on my legs before, and doing it without the hands was just as strengthening, but without the tension and the force. And then also I want to say thank you for the against the wall camel, because I so appreciate your approach to building the poses with just a gentle touch.
Thank you, Joanne. Yeah. Well, it's all of it has been wisdom that has been given to me through injury. The goddess has taught me well through injury. And I've had to learn how to go back slowly. I think she's been my greatest teacher through injury, you know. And I've had such weird things. Sometimes I've had something so weird happen to me, like a weird injury. And then within, you know, a month or two, somebody else has that same exact injury, and I can tell them how to climb out of it, right? It's like, oh, that's why I had that happen, right? It's like a blessing in disguise. Last night we had this, I read from Rumi for our YTT 300. I read the poem, The Guest House, about all the different guests that come in, whether you like them or not, you know, like we are a guest house, our whole self is a guest house. And, you know, like, so a lot of the injuries are guests that came in, and I was like, get the heck out of here. And really, they brought so much wisdom, you know. So, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's wonderful to hang out with you. And I look forward to next week. I can't believe our 2 days of the week have already passed. And now I have an Ayurveda weekend looking forward to starting tonight. So it'll be great to see you next Tuesday. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, our Southern expression. And yeah, okay. Yes, Amy. So see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Take much care. And I'm going to hang out with Amy for just a sec. Okay.